In the last video, I was talking about how NVC can help us weigh up kind of intangible things like freedom versus productivity, love versus survival, and make decisions that come from a place that's not just in the rational mind, although we do bring the rational mind in at some point, but when we're really sensing the value of love and really sensing the value of survival, then it starts making just spontaneously sense, like we just almost action flows from us naturally, compassionate, harmonious action which takes into account everyone's needs or the needs of every part of ourselves. It really helps if everyone is on board for speaking in an NVC way with each other. If everyone understands that if we can just get every feeling heard, then the solutions that come will be much more likely to nourish everyone and nourish the whole and create harmony. If we have a situation where someone else doesn't understand NVC or doesn't agree with it, then it's tricky. And to some extent, the best thing we can do, if we have the time, is to help people understand why we want to talk about feelings and needs. And get them on board. And that makes our relationships so much more beautiful. So much deeper and more nourishing. However, if you've got a boss who says, nope, do these extra hours, otherwise I fire you, then it helps to be able to bring in this consciousness of feelings and needs and this consciousness of that lived quality of our humanity, even with people who are not thinking in this way. So maybe the boss says, no, get back to work. And maybe you can then stop and check in with yourself and be like, yeah, wow, I am so pissed right now. What am I needing? I'm angry. What I really want is to spend time with my family. That's what makes life worth living for me. It's such a big deal, and I won't get back those years. As my kid grows older, and I won't get back that time. These are precious moments for me. And you can already see, like, as I'm talking about that, I soften. And when you get to that point, you're not angry anymore. You're sad, maybe, or something else. There's the quality of sadness or a soft desperation, maybe. Already, if you just talk from that place, whatever you say is going to be easier to hear, because when you're angry, it's not as easy to hear anyone. It takes more resources. So you could say, boss, right now I'm feeling desperate. And the boss is like, I don't care how you feel, get back to work. Boss, this really matters to me. I am so desperate. I need to be heard. And I promise that if I get heard right now, it's gonna be better for your productivity. Like, how is that for you to hear? And the boss is like, fine, what do you want to say? And you say, boss, first of all, like, I'm really grateful that you're giving me this moment. And I just want to say that I'm confident that if you can hear me about my feelings here, then you will understand me better, I will understand you better, and we'll have a flow. So that's why I'm bringing it up, and what goes on is, I'm so desperate. I so much want to live my life, to live these moments with my family that I will otherwise never get back. And how is that for you to hear? And then you see, like, maybe this person, your bosses, see a change in their eyes and they're touched. And the boss is like, well, okay, that's all well and good, but what about productivity? These paperweights aren't going to engrave themselves with our trademark. Or whatever. And so from that place you might say, yeah, I'm really hearing that even though you're getting me, you need these paperweights to be done. And if they're not done, I guess there's a whole load of stress, right? And like the whole system's gonna not flow, like the next step in the production line is gonna be held up, and you're wanting things to really work in this place. And you're caring about kind of everyone in this organization here. Is that right? My boss is like, yeah, of course. You think I am some kind of lazy person? You can tell that I am not very experienced with the workplace. So, perhaps you can see in my somewhat lame example what this kind of process can look like. And it's a bit of a tricky thing when someone is not on board with NVC. And to some extent, you might just have to negotiate getting them on board with NVC. Sometimes you don't have time. And sometimes maybe they don't really believe in feelings, and then it gets trickier. But you can still do it, because they can't stop you from feeling your feelings. And they can't stop you from wondering about their feelings. And the more you do this, the more you get into MVC, the more you realize it's not just a technique or like a prescribed philosophy. It's, you get curious. You want to know, what am I feeling? And you want to know, what are they feeling? And this becomes very natural to you. It becomes your way of being. And you can learn to steer conversations more in that direction. And you will have to actively work with what people are comfortable with. But there is a very subtle, complex skill, which is keeping conversations on this level and it has an aspect of the mind. You think about Marshall Rosenberg's 4 steps: observation, feeling, need, request. You learn patterns of speech which help, but it also needs to be very, very connected with your feeling and your instinct and your understanding for why you're doing this in the first place. Because if it's only in your head, then people will hate it and you'll hate yourself. I speak from experience. But there's a way of doing this which is very authentic, and it's authentic because you have learned just how important feelings are. This is your way of being. This is your natural self. My natural self is a feeling being, is a being of human needs. Those needs that bring us closer to our humanity, that experience of humanity which makes us like each other. You learn to like yourself. You learn to see like, wow, I'm not just being a lazy shit. You're seeing right now, I can't keep my mind on the job because my heart is at home with my family. And there's such a beauty in that. And you love yourself when you see that. And people start loving you when you express from that place. And learning to express from that place, that's a whole journey. And I don't feel like I'm even close to being done. But I've started seeing really the potential of it. And that's what I'm trying to teach people. And I want to keep learning and keep offering more of this in ways that touch both our inner landscape and our effects on the outer world equally. It brings our spirituality into the world, and it brings the world into our spirituality. And I find that just magic.